Today I will introduce Charles Spurgeon, known as the Prince of Preachers. He was one of the most influential Baptist pastors of the 19th century. I chose Spurgeon because he deeply influenced countless people. His sermon and his work still inspired many today. In this presentation, I will explore 5 key questions about Spurgeon's life. How did Spurgeon, with no formal theological education, become a respected pastor? Why did his preaching style focus on the core message of salvation? And how was it different from other preachers? How did he manage a megachurch of over 5,000 while staying to Baptist principles? Why did Spurgeon emphasize charity, took on social responsibility, in addition to his preaching ministry? What made Spurgeon made a stand as a separatist during the downgrade controversy? Through these questions, I will evaluate how well Spurgeon aligns with Baptist tradition. I conducted my research by chronologically following Spurgeon's life and achievement. Spurgeon was born 1834, born in Kelvedon, a small village 80 kilometers northeast of London. Spurgeon's parents were godly Christians. His father and grandfather were nonconformist ministers, which deeply influenced Spurgeon's spiritual upbringing. When he was 15, Spurgeon experienced dramatic conversion during a Methodist service. 2 years later only, when he was 17 years old, 1851, without formal theological education, Spurgeon became the pastor of Water Beach Baptist Church. 3 years later, he was officially appointed as the pastor of New Park Street Chapel in London. 2 years later, 1856, Spurgeon founded theological seminary or college to train young people who are candidates for ministry. Now we move on to the preaching style of Spurgeon. Spurgeon was well known for expository preaching, but his style was less detailed than other Baptist ministers. Spurgeon used Scripture more freely to lead people to Christ. His sermons emphasized on the core message of salvation rather than scientific explanation or detailed analysis of the text. Even though his unique preaching style, Lord used his sermon and preaching between 1855 and 1892. Over this period, Spurgeon published 63 volumes of sermons. 1864, when he was 29, delivered his 4,000th sermon. What about his megachurch leadership? Spurgeon's 1861, when he was 26, opened the 5,000-seat Metropolitan Tabernacle in London, one of the largest congregations in his days. He established a charity to aid the poor 1866. A year later, 1867, when he was 32, founded an orphanage to look after several hundred orphans. He was interested in raising next generation. More than 1,000 children were enrolled in his church Sunday school, 1881. He expanded the outreach program across London, balancing his large congregation with active social work. 1877, Spurgeon publicly supported nonconformists' rights and religious freedom in England. He actively led social service and charitable efforts to help the people who were in need. 1889, he encouraged the funding for education and support programs for uneducated children. Lastly, separation controversy. Spurgeon involved in downgrade controversy. 1887, he called for a return to biblical orthodoxy and separated from liberal theological trends. 1890, when he was 56, officially withdrew from the Baptist Union. He issued a declaration defending doctrinal purity, opposing theological liberalism. He continued his stance against the liberal influence in the church until the end of his life. Here is a brief overview of the legacy Charles Spurgeon left behind. Spurgeon's sermons were published in 63 volumes. Spurgeon delivered approximately 3,600 sermons. During his lifetime, Spurgeon's sermons sold over 50 million copies. To date, over 300 million copies of his sermons have been sold, which is translated into more than 23 languages. Spurgeon personally baptized 14,692 people during his ministry. The Metropolitan Tabernacle seated 5,000, with room for an additional 1,000 standing. In 1857, Spurgeon preached to 23,654 people at Crystal Palace in London. Spurgeons were interested in raising next generations. More than 1,000 children enrolled in his church Sunday school, and also he founded Spurgeon College to train young people for ministry. Spurgeon initiated downgrade controversy to oppose liberal theology within the Baptist Union. Charles Spurgeon left a strong legacy that still impacts Christians today. Known as the Prince of Preachers, his influence comes from his powerful sermon and preachings, many books, and charitable work. His efforts to spread the gospel and raise the next generation, training future ministers, keep his legacy alive. Spurgeon's work contributes to inspire believers and shape Christian thought even now.